Okay, so let's go ahead and get started for this week. This is Module 4 or Week 4. And let's take a look at the content, and then I'll talk about the two other assignments other than your infographic animation here after that. So this is the live classroom, and we'll talk about getting started on your infographic animation, as well as video with words, motion tracking, and video with words camera tracking, and I'll show you some examples of that as well. Okay, so let's just take a look at what we're working with today. So pre-comps are basically compositions that you can combine together in a larger comp. So let's say that we wanted to do an intro, and then we wanted to do the middle part, and then we wanted to do an outro. We could do those in 3 different comps, and then put those together in one longer timeline. So pre-comps and nesting are a great way to organize longer projects. And if you want to use those within um, your animal animation, you're more than welcome to do that. And basically, we are just putting one comp inside another composition. So if we have a main composition, we could break it into smaller versions and import those into the main comp. So just keep that in mind. If you have a really long composition and you just want to break it into pieces, which sometimes is the best way to do it, and making transitions in between the comps are a little easier that way as well. So there is a LinkedIn Learning essential training video, and I highly recommend that you kind of look at that, because usually if you're working in the industry, you might have one small comp and then somebody else is working on another piece, another comp, and then you'll combine them together to create one longer version. Okay, so just make sure that if you have a really long comp, that you understand that, we want to make sure that they're all set up in the correct format to match, and frame rate and everything, just because you don't want to have different frame rates and different size comps together. You can do that, but if we're trying to be consistent with size and renders and that kind of thing, it's probably best that you keep all your comps in the same format. Okay. All right. Now with motion tracking, basically what it's going to do is you're going to pick a spot on an object and have the camera follow that, which is a great way to do it. And it kind of helps kind of make it a little more engaging. So if we're, walking along with an animal and we want to make sure that we have an area of focus on that video, and maybe we want, text to follow it, or um, an object to follow that area, then we can use motion tracking. And a good example, this is just a video, but you can see that the camera mainly focuses on the dog here. It does move a little bit. We can actually create an object, a null object to follow. So if I wanted to follow the leash, then I could create a null object so that the camera focused mainly on that area. Okay, so I'll post an example of the assignment that I did. And also there's some examples on how to do that on the announcements as well. Matter of fact, let's go there real quick. So for the camera tracking, I've prepared this, or I found this tutorial And basically it's going to show you exactly how to do motion tracking in After Effects. And it's pretty simple. Basically, we're going to create a null object and then lock the camera to that. Okay, so that's on the announcements, as well as we're going to do 3D camera tracking as well.
Today we're going to teach you the basics,
which is basically when we create titles.
Change environments, add in extra visual effects components, tracking. Let's go.
So if we create titles and we want it to follow the camera,
all the packs are extremely high quality.
this is a great video that kind of shows you how to do that. Okay, so that will be the 2 assignments you're going to be working with. Okay, let's take a look at the rest of the content here. Okay, then with motion tracking, we want to analyze the footage. We can use After Effects to do that, to analyze and follow an object. And again, if you look at the video on the announcements, it's going to give you an intro on how to do that. And it's a little more simplified than reading all these, but basically you're going to pick an area to follow on the video clips provided. I'll show you that here in a second. And then use the analyze footage filter to analyze it, and then adding a null object to track. Okay, so once we're done with the footage, then you can render it, and here we go. Here's the final result here. So it's just tracking on the dog's face here. On the example, I will post the example, but you'll be using some video clips of cell phone footage, and you'll be tracking some text with that. Okay. And then 3D camera tracking. Basically, when we do that, we're going just to track how the camera pans through a scene. Okay, so this is not really, I get students that just want to keyframe and make it move with the footage, but if it's locked to the camera, then it's going to look a lot more natural. Okay, so there's a video on the announcements that shows you how to go about doing that as well. All right, so basically it should follow a point in the camera, not which is similar to motion tracking, but you're tracking with the camera, not the motion of an element within a video. Okay, so and then there's a video here on how that kind of works. But if you look at the announcements for that example, that's going to probably help you a little bit more. Okay. All right, so let's talk about the assignments, because this is really kind of where we're starting to develop your infographic animation. Okay, so it's time now to start animating your infographic. And again, I posted a student example, and I'll post another one as well. But let's take a look at the example for the project. Okay, so basically what you're doing is importing all your footage or all your elements and illustrations, and then creating some type of informative animation using data points. This one is pretty good, but it could use more data points like pie charts or percentages. They do use some in here, but this is a lot of text right here. I would say make it larger so that it's a little easier to read. for the audience, and then maybe have some type of graphic associated with it. Okay, and then we have some nice transitional elements coming in. Nice transition there. Okay, and this is quite a bit of text as well. You could probably eliminate some of that and make it a little larger. So at the end, you need to have the website as well as the logo. Some type of creative background would be nice. I'd also add music to it. It's really going to help kind of make it a bit more engaging. So do that as well. I'll post another example, but what we're looking for here are data points, and we're looking for engaging typography. Okay, so when you're thinking about doing this, make sure that you're not putting too much text for the audience to read, because we may be transitioning to another part of the animation and they may not have time to read all that. So the simpler, the better. The more graphics you can use, the better here as well. Okay. All right. Go back to the content. So you're just going to be beginning the start of it. Try to keep the final animation at least to 15 to 20 seconds, I think, is probably good in order for all the information to be digestible. So what you're going to do is you're going to start your animation, and then you're going to submit that, and then I'll give you some feedback on how to probably make it a bit more engaging as well as finish it out. And you really always want to pay attention to the specifications, because, again, if we were sending it to broadcast or whatever, we'd want to make sure that it's all set up correctly. Okay. And since it's a shorter animation, you may want to use pre-comps, or you may not. I'm not going to require that you use a pre-comp, but if you want to break it into different sections, that's a great way to do it. So maybe your intro is one comp, and then it transitions into the data points, and then it transitions into the end, which would be another comp. So it's up to you to do that. Now, make sure that you have some of your own graphics created, because I'll let you use some stock imagery, but 70% of the elements in this project should be of your own work. Okay. So it could be simple. It could be the data points. It could be other graphics associated with that. It could be a background layer. So just make sure that you're creating some of your own elements, because if you use all stock, then that's not really creating your own animation. It's actually using pieces from what that somebody else created. Okay. And again, please make sure that you save all your files. Make sure you're working out of a root folder, okay, because that's extremely important. And so the key phrase for today will be pre-comps. Pre-comps, again, are smaller bits of one big animation that you can use to create smaller sections, so you can just get it a little bit more organized. And you're going to want to package as well, because you're going to need to, at some point, collect all your files for this project, okay? Because you don't want to lose any of your things from this class, because if you create something really engaging and nicely done, then you can use it in your portfolio, which that's what you should really aim for in this project. Okay. All right. And then video to words, basically, you're going to download some video files. Let me just get these real quick. Get this on my desktop here. And I'll post some examples of these, but you're going to need to match some text to these video files. And basically, it's going to be motion tracking, so that maybe the focus is this phone here, and then the text that comes out follows that. I'd like for you to use at least 2 or 3 of these video files just so you get a good idea on how that works. And it should be 8 to 10 seconds long. So you're probably going to have to use a couple different video files. Okay. So the best way to do that is just to pick 2 or 3 of these and create your null object and do the analyze and follow. Again, you want to make sure that you're following the specifications here. Okay, and again, I'll post some examples here in just a second. And then we get camera tracking. Actually, let's go back. Yeah. Make sure we're doing the right one here. So you have some other files. For instance, with this, you're going to want to create a camera and have text follow it. Again, I will post an example of that. It's pretty straightforward, and if you watch the tutorials on the announcements, you should have no problem doing that as well. Pretty straightforward. Shouldn't take you too long. So just pick one of those, or you pick a couple and do your camera tracking on that as well. Okay. Matter of fact, let me just let me get ready to upload those. Okay. Now, when we're working on the your animated infographic, just make sure that you're following the specifications. So your task is to take any feedback that I've given you, whether it's create more of your own elements or create more data points, because we really want to create those data points because they're going to be a lot more engaging than a bunch of text. Okay. Text is good, but graphics and data points are much better. All right. So if you have any questions, if you want me to take a look at what you have before we move forward, just email it to me. Email me a link, and I'll take a look and give you any insights, because your final is going to be due. Take a look here. Your final project is going to be due in module 6, which I believe the last class, and I need to look it up to change the date, is going to be on that Wednesday, I believe. So let me just double check on that, and I'll let you know. But I would concentrate on getting a really good foundation this week on your animation, so that when we start working on the final, which you're only going to have, you won't have a full week on module 6. You'll only have, I think you only have 3 or 4 days in module 6. So you might want to start thinking about how much information you're going to put in that. And again, it needs to be like 15 seconds, maybe 20 seconds long. So just think about, scheduling your time around that, because this will be kind of your final project for this class. Okay. And then next week we'll talk about adding music, and masks and mats will help quite a bit with compositing if you want to mask areas out and show different techniques and textures within your composition. Also, next week, we're finishing up the animated solar system, and I do have a demo on that for you as well. So I've simplified it so that you should be able to you're going to be adding um, labels to your planets as they spin, and I'll post that demo as well. So for this week, just make sure that you're, concentrating on getting a good foundation on your animated infographic. Again, if you'd like for me to take a look at it, just email me the link and I'll give you insights into where I think you should go with the rest of it. So you don't need to have all of it done, but have enough of it so I can kind of see your concept and your storyline. And then you have these two motion tracking and camera tracking assignments. So again, there's two videos on the announcements on how to do those. So for here, being that it's motion tracking, you're going to create a null object and have the camera follow that area. And then camera tracking tracks a camera, not a null object. So just watch these two and they'll get you through those two assignments there. Okay, so that's good enough for this week. Please email me if you have any questions at all. I recorded this a little early today, but I'll be posting it right around 3 o'clock, so you have access to it. And I'll also post it on YouTube. So just let me know if you have any trouble with the videos or any of the assignments, and I'll give you some resources for that. All right. Okay, so that's good enough for this week. Again, really concentrating on your infographic, because that's really going to take the most amount of time, because gathering gathering those elements and animating takes time. The other two assignments, the motion tracking and camera tracking, won't take long, especially if you watch the announcements for those tutorials that I've posted here. Okay. All right, so that's good enough for today. And if you have any questions, please just email me and we'll catch you next week.